Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're well. So today we've got Jayson Casper, who is one of the most watched crypto traders on YouTube. Jayson is known for his fast-paced, no-fluff breakdowns, high energy streams, and also his specific trading style. So in this interview, we're going to be talking about the real setup. We'll be talking about market risk, mistakes, risk management, blowing up trades, rules, and everything that keeps him constant with trading. And on top of that, what it's like being a trader and having a homestead as well. Jayson, welcome to the channel. You've actually frozen my end. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Awesome, awesome. I know Randy's finishing a little bit later today, but let's see who's in the chat. So we've got Mike Volmar. I hope you're well, Mike. We've got Black Hat Team. I hope you're well. Dogeball, good day to you as well. John Legend and Jayson's YouTube channel is there. We'll put all of Jayson's links down in the description below. So the interview will be split into 4 parts. Well, I'll do a quick market review to see where we are with Bitcoin, where it is in the cycle. We'll talk to Justin about his journey into crypto, his edge as a trader, some trading alpha, and we'll finish off with some lifestyle questions, a lifestyle segment, as Jayson is known for both his trading skills as well as his clean lifestyle, and he's also a very devoted Christian. So if we have a quick look at what the market is currently doing, I'll quickly share my screen and get rid of that background. 1 second, let me just get rid of the background. There you go. Okay, awesome. So here, what we tend to have, and this is the thing that a lot of people skip, is actually zooming out. So when you zoom out of the market, you can see what's going on in the market if we're in a bull run or if we're in the bear cycle. So I'm using fibs here on a larger swing to see where we are in the broader structure, because cycles don't end with one red candle. They end when key level supports don't hold and the market can't reclaim them. Also, with the psychology of the market, it never ends. It never ends on hype. So you don't go up, up, up on hype, and then all of a sudden you got bearish news and you come down into a bear market. You will hit the top and hype will still continue as you're coming down. So here we've got the fibs on a larger, and fibs are a structural tool. They measure the full cycle. So here we're measuring the full cycle leg from the lows from the lows all the way up to the high. So we can see the bigger move and the bigger picture. So right now, it's very simple. We've lost the 0.16 zone, which was around 71.9 thousand. The price is trading below that. In bull phases, the 0.618, I do apologize, the 0.618 often acts like support, and once it's lost, it frequently turns into resistance. So the story basically is, as long as we stay below the 0.18, the market is basically saying we could be heading for a deeper retracement, not a shallow dip. And we're seeing that here as well. The next major resistance or level on the fibs is the 0.786, which is around 57,000 US dollars. And it's the next obvious magnet if weakness continues, because the next major retracement level is where buyers normally show up. I do apologize. Where they normally show up. If we zoom out a bit more, what we can see here is market behavior repeating. So this here, this fractal here, or this here is the all-time high from the 2021 bull market. And it's the same behavior. We're not saying history repeats, but the markets do rhyme. And what we have in this fractal here from 2021 is interesting because it comes from the all-time high in November 2021 and it's repeating in the first quarter of the following year, or quarter one of the following year. And that's the same setup that we have now again with this same or similar fractal. We have the all-time high on the 6th of October 2025, and then it's repeating in quarter one of the following year. We got the same market behavior. We have the dump, we have a little bit of panic, we have relief, we have the chop where we consolidate. We went down, we hit this line a couple of times back in 2021. We had the fake out and then we went down deeper. We're doing the exact same thing. We've come down from the all-time high. We've chopped around here. We've hit this line a couple of times. We've had the fake out and we're going down again. So we need to start to reclaim key levels and hold them. And if we do that, this fractal then invalidates, it becomes weaker. But if we keep going down, we are making lower, we are going to make lower highs, and this fractal here is going to continue. If we have, just quickly, a look at the heat map. Again, we're zooming out. We're not doing what Jayson does because Jayson is really in the markets and he does short-term trading. We're just having a look at what's going on altogether. So liquidity is clustered pretty much around the golden pocket here. So this is around about where the golden pocket is. On the other side. So we're going up to round about 72. Again, over here, around about 70, 71, 72. Liquidity is around the golden pocket, around the golden pocket levels. So either it's going to ignore that. There's not a lot of liquidity there. So either it's going to ignore that, or it's going to gravitate to it. It's going to grab it. It's going to react, and then it's going to move on. If we have a quick look, a tiny look at the ETF flows, we have had the last couple of maybe about 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks, we have had more outflows than we have had inflows. Anyway, that there is pretty much all I'm going to talk about the market and where we are. And we're going to get back to Jayson Casper. Just get rid of that. So Jayson, what is your origin story? What did you do before crypto? And when was the exact moment when you decided that you were going to take trading seriously?
Yeah, well, right now is one of those times where I feel like people who are just getting into crypto and trading, this is the time. This is like one of those prime times now that we're dumping like crazy, where we have a major opportunity right now. This year, I believe if you're buying Bitcoin between 30K and 70K in 2026, then you're going to be in some serious profit by 2029. So this is one of those times for new people to really learn and get educated about the markets, because you're not buying the top right now. As for my origin story, I've always had one goal in life, Crypto Princess, if I had to be honest with you, which is I just don't want to have a job. I remember being in high school, my friends are getting jobs, and I'm like an immature, 16-year-old kid. I don't want to have a job. There has to be a better way, right? Mm-hmm. So me and my pops, we were both had that mindset, because he had a job, he was working for the man, and we're like, look, there has to be a better way. There's this thing out now called the internet. It's 2005-ish. And, we figured out how to do affiliate marketing using WordPress blogs and selling products for commission. And so that was my intro into being a professional jobless guy. And so, fast forward a few years, I became a professional musician. I toured full time for 3 years. And while I was touring, I was still doing the affiliate commission, stuff like that. And then after I was done being a musician, I started a business that did search engine optimization for other companies. So I was reaching out to companies and helping them rank on the internet and stuff like that, and they would pay me for it. Well, during this time, I got married. I started learning about fiat currency, about how the dollar is like a huge Ponzi scheme. They're stealing the wealth away from all the people, and they're hoarding it for themselves. All the purchasing power is going down. So I started to get heavily into precious metals, gold and silver, and being down that trail, that bunny trail of conspiracy fact, I happened to cross Bitcoin. And I'm like, man, Bitcoin, this sounds great because, basically it's a great way to bypass the central banks, peer-to-peer means of exchange, no middleman, you're your own bank, and it's decentralized, right? So it can't be controlled. At the time, it's around 2016, I myself being very libertarian-minded, which means you do you and I do me, just leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I said, this is great. And so I got into Bitcoin in 2016. I decided to put my entire life savings into Bitcoin, and my wife, surprisingly, was down with the idea, because usually I'm the irresponsible, impulsive one. My wife, she's like, she keeps me, in the straight and narrow, right? So typically I come with a crazy idea and she's like, oh, that's irresponsible, blah, blah, blah. What about this and that, how wives are. I mean, I love my wife. She's my best friend, seriously. But this time, immediately, without even thinking, she said, okay, let's do it. So I took that as a sign from God, okay, my wife, who's usually keeping me from doing crazy stuff, is down with this plan. So we put everything we had been working for into Bitcoin in the summer of 2016. And I was naively bullish. I listened to one podcast. I was convinced Bitcoin is going to $1 million and that, the dollar is going to collapse tomorrow. And this is it. We're going to get our Bitcoin. We're going to be set for life, baby. Well, as we all know, during the next year and a half, Bitcoin went from about $600 to about $20,000. I sold at 10 grand. I sold at 17 grand because I had this intuition where I'm like, this is just not right. Like, this is not okay for the price to be this high. And I'm not going to take money and realize profit, because I had a goal in crypto, which was to get a homestead and all this stuff and buy a property. So I did that. We got the property. Praise God. A huge blessing in hindsight, because I was so ignorant and naive, but it worked out. That opened up my mind to the markets. And from that point on, that's when I decided to learn technical analysis. This is beginning of 2018. I wanted to learn how to trade stocks and trade Forex so that I could profit off the volatility, because if we're all about beating inflation and beating the system, well, the elites, they make money no matter what. They make money when the price goes up. They make money when the price goes down. They make money when inflation goes up. They make money when inflation goes down. They just know how to play the game. So I wanted to learn this. So I started to learn that 2018, 2019. And then in 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was watching all the stuff that was happening allegedly in China on TikTok and stuff, and people falling over in the street and foaming at the mouth and having seizures and piles of bodies. And, I'm like, you know what? I'll bet you this is just going to go to the point where they're going to force vaccines on everybody, and it's going to be some kind of crazy dystopian situation. And so my backup plan of being a garbage man, if my business failed, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have to get a vaccine to be a garbage man. I need to learn something different. And for me, that was trading. That's when I started to take the trading super, super seriously in 2020. And that's when I really refined my strategy. And that's when I really got my risk management in check. And that's when I became a trader and not so much of an investor, where I was doing this every week, every day, instead of half in and half out. So that's the story of how I got to where I am now.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very brave, especially when you have, a wife, you have a family, that you're actually going to become a trader, because the majority of traders actually give up in the first 3 months. Only a tiny percentage, and I don't know how big the percentage is. I did know once upon a time. I don't remember how big it is, but only a tiny percentage of traders actually stay trading after 3 months.
Yeah, that I feel like that number is different depending on who you ask. But yeah, so there was a point in time where after I'd taken a major loss, you know, lying on the bathroom floor, questioning why I decided to do this, I decided, look, if I'm not gonna learn how to do this properly, then I won't be able to continue. So that was the major turning point for me. And then, like I said, it's really all about developing a system and then having the discipline to stick to the system. Most people who start to trade are good traders. They're good analysts. They could do TA perfectly. They could predict bounces, rejections, all that. But then when there's money on the line, they don't follow the information that they have in their mind. Instead, they follow their emotions. So it's very important to get to the point where you're not trading to make money. You're trading because you enjoy trading and you enjoy the process of planning and executing the setup in it that you planned for, with the position size that you plan for, with the risk that you plan for, with the targets that you plan for. And over time, because losses will happen, if you just implement what you know you should do, at the very least, you're not going to blow your account. At the very most, you're going to find that over the course of months, you're going to be break even, profitable, and then you're going to find that you're a profitable trader.
So on the channel already, about a year ago, we did do a full interview with Jayson on his crypto story from the very beginning. So do go and check that out. Just very quickly, I do apologize. In that interview, for some reason, I called you Justin. I've got no idea why.
That's okay. People call me whatever they want.
Oh, bless you, bless you. You're actually one of the nicest guys in crypto YouTube, I must admit, and I do know lots and lots of people. So why did you start your crypto YouTube channel, and also how did your wife feel about you putting your face out there?
Wow, how did I start the channel? Well, to be totally honest, I started the channel in 2021 in the winter. The reason I started this channel is because I saw an opportunity to make money. I saw an opportunity to make affiliate marketing money selling Market Cipher, basically. So I've been using Market Cipher for quite some time. Fast forward a few years when I was trading primarily Forex, I was always trying to find these combination of indicators that would give me very high probability entry and exit signals. So I would have like 4 or 5 indicators on my chart. I'd be trying to find confluences between all of them. CryptoFace at the time, he was doing like this bot stuff. Profit, I forget. He was trading leverage with bots. And then he starts talking about this indicator that he was working on, Market Cipher. And I started using that. And I had been using Market Cipher, and I had been developing my own strategies with it. And then I saw Ben Armstrong post a video. He had like 750,000 subs at the time. And he's like, yeah, you guys get this thing, Market Cipher. All you got to do is long the green dots. You're going to become a millionaire overnight, man. Leverage trading, that's the way, baby. And so I was driving home, and I said to myself, you know what? I know that Market Cipher is a great indicator because I use it. And I also know there's no content on the internet about how to use this thing. CryptoFace, I love CryptoFace. He's the man. But, he had these like weird tutorials of like classical opera in the background that were like 5 hours long. And I'm like, you know what? This is an opportunity. This is an open door, because I just had some guy, the most popular crypto YouTuber in the world, talk about Market Cipher. People can be searching this thing. There's no content. So now's my chance. I'm an affiliate marketer all the way back to high school. I'm like, what a great open door. So started making content talking about how I use Market Cipher. And yeah, but I'm gonna be totally honest. Like, that's the reason I started my YouTube channel. Like, I knew that, first of all, I could help people not get wrecked because I had strategies that worked. And secondly, I saw it as an opportunity to monetize my knowledge and my skills in an open doorway. And again, the Lord just blessed that as well, because long story short, I ended up collaborating with CryptoFace and BitBoy, and that really pumped my channel up to like 50,000 subs. At the time, crypto was hot, baby. It's not like it is now. Now it's not like it was back in 2021. So that gave my channel the big pump. And then, that's a huge blessing. I was able then to establish myself as a trader. And then, when people saw my trading and, they saw what I was doing, the channel just kept on growing. And into the bear market, the community really grew because, the bull market's fun. Everyone's rich, making money. The bear market, that's where only the real traders go through that. And the real ones that are in the trenches every day, trading when there's no hype at all, making money, stacking during the bear market. That's really where the strong community is built. So we ended up building a very strong, positive community during the bear market, trading, making money, making profits. And that kind of just carried us through until the next bull run.
And arguably, you are as big as CryptoFace and BitBoy. I mean, your channel is absolutely massive. Like maybe one person doesn't know you. Oh, it is. It is. Don't
No, it's come on, Crypto Princess.
What's his name? Hasn't the president once spoke about you?
You know what? You are that is true. Yeah, I have had 2 presidents speak about me, so I guess you're right.
Who was the other one?
There's the orange one, and then the one that pooped his pants. Wait, there's been 3 presidents: the orange one, the poop pants, and Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh!
So I guess I am super famous. You're right. I forgot about that.
Okay. So what about your community? You have this absolutely amazing community. They're very, very loyal. You've got your Discord. You've got your YouTube as well. Tell me a bit about your community.
Yeah, I mean, the community, I believe that it's a very positive community. You go to a lot of trading Discords, a lot of negativity, a lot of profanity, just a lot of bad vibes. So, I think we have a very positive community, good vibes. I don't allow profanity or obviously things are always going to happen, right? But we try and keep that down and foster just an environment of learning, positivity, and stuff like that. And I think that, that's kind of what we have. That's what sets the Casper crew apart from some other Discords that I've known about. So, I'm very blessed once again. I feel, God built the community, not me. He brought the people. He brought the people on the back end that keep the community going. He brought the traders and the people involved in the community that foster the positive environment and the education and the resources that we have there. It's like I said, it's God built it, not me. I'm just the guy who makes YouTube videos.
I'm going to ask you a really cheeky question, and I can ask you this because obviously I'm your Muslim sister and you're my Christian brother, but how do you feel about girls who interact with you who may not have just crypto on their mind? Are you quite good at spotting motives?
I'll be honest, I haven't had many girls contact me for any reason besides crypto. In fact, my community is 97% dudes. There's no, okay, I'm sorry. There are women in the Casper crew. Shout out to the girls in the Casper crew. But none of them are like that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, so let's talk about risk management. Let's give some alpha. What percentage do you risk per trade, and how did you come to that number?
For me, it's 1% to 3%, sometimes as low as 0.5%. The reason I came to that number is because that is a amount of capital where you can go to sleep with your trade open and not have to worry. And that the next trade that comes along is going to restore your loss and or more. And if you're risking, and I know this is different for every trader. I know people that risk 8%, 10%. For me, if you're risking 10%, all right, and let's say the fees, and you end up risking 11%, okay? Now you're going into uphill battle territory where you're trying to make that back, and you're not going to make that back in one trade unless it's the perfect trade. The thing about trading is you're going to get your small wins and your small losses, and it's the big wins that are going to grow your account. So if you're taking big losses, and then the next few trades are small win, you're still not even break even from your one loss. You could have a 75% win rate and still be in the red. All right. So for me, psychologically, that is just too much. I know if I lose 1%, I do not care at all. You know what I'm saying? I can go to sleep happy. Like, I can take the trade. It looks risky, looks scary, whatever. It's like, no, I got good risk management and this is a high probability level or whatever. For me, it's a big psychological thing. Plus, again, if you're chopping around with small wins, small losses, make 1,000, lose 1,000, make 1,000, lose 1,000, then you make 10 grand in a trade. It's way better than losing 10 grand in a trade and then make 1,000, lose 1,000, make 1,000, lose 1,000. Like, that's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So how do you handle revenge trading in the moment? Because that's a very powerful move. That's very powerful, isn't it? The revenge feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's really just, you have to ask yourself, do I have a setup here? Like, I'm going to define revenge trading as taking a trade that you shouldn't take. You shouldn't take it. If you ask yourself in a clear-headed mentality, should I take this trade? Or if somebody asked you, should I take this trade right now? And you shouldn't, but you're taking it anyway because you just took a loss. That's revenge trading. So if price comes to like a key level, you take a trade, you take a loss, and price is still in your key level, and you still have a valid reason to enter, then you can still enter. And when you do, you enter with the same position size that you should, and with the right stop loss as you should. And that, I don't want to say it allows you to revenge trade properly, but if we're defining revenge trade as a trade that should not be taken with money that should not be used, you basically just have to channel that into asking yourself, is there a trade here? Yes or no? If there's no trade, just don't take a trade. If there is a trade, take the trade, not to try and get your money back, but just to try and continue on with the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot of people, you've seen professional people, you've seen people in your communities, and I'm sure you've seen people in lots and lots of other places. What's the fastest way you've seen somebody blow up, and what was the root cause of that?
I mean, there's been so many ways. I think one of the easiest ways people lose everything, obviously there's revenge trading and gambling, where you get into the trading early, and very early in your trading career, you make a big win and you're like, I see how this works. And then you start over leveraging huge portions of your account. And then in an effort to make that back, you basically double down and lose everything. That's very common. The second way is people get into low leverage positions, thinking they're never going to get liquidated, and they get liquidated. Like this last drop, I've had so many people contact me saying, I lost my life savings. I've had multiple people say I've lost my life savings because I got liquidated on like 5x or like 3x. And it's like, man, like, so stay away from that. If do not treat leverage like spot. That's rule number one. The how do I say, the non-trading crypto channels are right when they talk about never use leverage. Because when I say non-trading crypto channels, I mean HODL channels. They say never use leverage, and they're right. If you're going to treat leverage like spot, you could literally lose everything. The second way is, if you don't know what you're doing, you start gambling, you can quickly lose everything. I mean, it's so quick. I mean, it's crazy.
So the candle, the candle that we had, the big red candle that we had a couple of days ago, it was the first God candle. We've had several God candles in crypto before, but that's if you include the wicks. It was the first God candle where the actual body was over $10,000 or more, and it probably was because there was going to be a really big player who may have been, I don't know, margined or something like that. That wasn't average Joe. That was a big player in the market when things went wrong. Now you've seen a lot of people start their journey into crypto. What's the biggest lie people tell themselves when they say, I'm learning trading?
The biggest lie, I don't know if there's necessarily a lie people tell themselves. I think what's common is unrealistic expectations. Um, you know, there's so much hype in crypto about being able to make a lot of money very fast, and you can for sure. If you get into the right coin at the right time, or if you're an experienced trader and you have a lot of capital to trade with and you know how to trade. Like if you have a lot of capital to trade with and you know how to trade, you can make a lot of money very fast and consistently. The problem is people come in with small capital and they are looking for a shortcut, and trying to get rich quick is going to lose you everything, to be honest. If you're coming in, here's what you should do. If you don't have capital, learn the skill of trading, look into a prop firm so you can use your skills to get funded, and then you can actually start to trade and make some real profit with the prop firm. Then you can fund your own accounts, right? But again, it all comes back to the process of doing it. Like if you're not going to commit to the process, you just want the end result, you're not going to get there. It's like anything else in life. It's like fitness. If you have a goal, like you want to bench press 400 pounds, which I don't know how many kilos that is because I'm American. I'm sorry. But you can't just walk into the gym, load up the weight and think you're going to bench that thing. You're going to crush your chest, right? You got to go in every single day, every single week. And not only do you have to lift the weight, you have to eat right, you have to sleep right, you have to do all the things. You have to focus on the process. It's a whole lifestyle. And then eventually the outcome of you abiding by those principles and that lifestyle is going to lead to a 400-pound bench press. It's the same with trading. You can't just go in thinking, I want to make 6 figures a month or 6 figures a year. You have to go in saying, I'm just going to commit to the process. I'm going to commit to doing my analysis every single day, planning my trades, sticking to the good risk management. And I know that eventually the fruit of that labor is going to be, I am a profitable trader. And once I get to the point that I'm a profitable trader, there are avenues I can go down that will allow me to get capital, like a prop firm, or just like slowly and consistently building up an account, or even, spot trading crypto. Like for me, that's been a huge one to build up capital. It's just, trading crypto on spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, now's the time to be buying Bitcoin under 70K, 67, 50, 40, 30. You're buying Bitcoin there. 2029, we're going to be pushing $200,000,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, what's your highest bench press?
Oh, it's not very much, Crypto Princess. You're going to embarrass me here now in front of all these people. My highest bench is only 330 pounds. I don't know how many kilos that is. I could do a little calculation on my phone if you want.
I don't think I've ever done one, so it's much more than what I could do.
Yeah.
How much is that? Oh, did you do the calculation? Oh, Jesse goes here. He goes 400 pounds is like 188 kg, which is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, let's talk about lifestyle, because you're not just a trader. You have this lifestyle that a lot of people love.
It's 150 kilos. There you go.
150 kilos. That's massive. Yeah. So you also have this lifestyle that people do follow you. They do like it. You do have a homestead. So when did the idea come about for you to actually have or to buy a homestead? I know you bought it with the proceeds of, what you made in crypto, but when was the plan? Was it always the plan, or did something trigger it?
Yeah. No, it was always a plan. So I got married, and I guess as I became more mature or more paranoid, depending on your perspective, I realized everyone's talking about financial security and all this stuff. And when you go down that road long enough, you're going to end up on a piece of land producing your own means of survival. I mean, you have gold and silver. So what? There's no supply chain. You know, can't buy food. Like, who cares then? You got your goal. Good for you, man. So it's like, if you really want to be self-sufficient, if you really don't want to have a job, you know, it all goes back to not wanting to have a job, right? Then you want to be able to produce your own food on your own land. So that's the ultimate freedom, like in my mind, the ultimate wealth, the ultimate freedom. And I mean freedom in a sense, like in an earthly sense, not a spiritual sense, but you know, that comes from having land and working with God's creation to produce the things you need to survive. I mean, God created man, he put them in a garden to work and worship and serve in the garden. And I believe that not only is it a means of survival, but you know, and look, this is subjective, okay? What I'm about to say, it's not for everybody, but I have experienced, and I believe that being close to the land is going to lead to physical health, mental health, spiritual health, because you are in the environment that you were created to be in, not in some fake environment with fluorescent lights, in a cubicle with some boss who yells at you if you don't do the right thing, eating some processed junk food real quick so you can get back after your work break, you know?
So paint a picture. What does a normal day look like in a homestead?
Well, it depends on the time of the year, since right now my homestead is frozen. But around springtime, after the you know, the spring equinox or whatever, the pretty much you wake up early, you got to get out there and you know, do the garden work early in the morning or at dusk. But for me, it's always the morning is better. Got to make sure everything's watered, everything's good to go. There's no pests. You know, if something needs some diatomaceous earth or needs some weeding, or you got to plant some seeds, or you got to harvest some things, you got to make sure the animals have food and water. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But you know what? It takes a lot more time to do it than it does to say it, especially since, you know, it sounds so simple in theory, but when you get your gardens big enough, I'm telling you, it's a never ending task. And then once you got the food, you have to bring it inside. You got to preserve it. You got to can it. You got to dehydrate it. You got to freeze it. You got to cure it. You got to store it. You got to make it into stuff. And so that pretty much goes on from, I'd say, April 15th until November. And then after that, it's pretty much just making sure the animals have water that's not ice and food, because they can't go in the pasture when everything's frozen. And yeah, that's just like planning your garden for the next year, right? You're preparing for the winter and the summer, and preparing for the summer and the winter.
You're also known as a very devout Christian. Was faith something that you grew up with, or did you choose it later? And describe your faith and the impact that it has on your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say that I have, well, how do I say it? Everything I do in my life stems from my faith at one way or another. Everything I do, whether it be having a homestead, whether it be trading, whether it be fitness or anything, it stems from my faith. And I would consider myself having been a Christian since 2012. So I was about 22 years old. And yeah, it pretty much, like I said, influences everything I do, because for two reasons. Number one, you know, I live with an eternal purpose that transcends myself, right? So that's very important. And number two, I have hope. I have hope no matter what happens, that the things I'm doing they transcend myself, right? There is a higher authority that I'm accountable to, and there's a higher authority that is guiding the decisions I make in my life, which I believe leads to blessing.
You're also a stay-at-home father, what is the big misconceptions that people have about stay-at-home dads, and what type of father are you? Do you discipline the children, or do you leave that to your missus?
Well, honestly, I have to say, I do change the nappies now and again. Um,
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
so here's the thing. I'm a stay-at-home dad. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. We homeschool our kids. Um, I have a complex role. It's not like my job is to be a stay-at-home dad. Like I work, right? But I work at home. So I'm there in the house, which I think is really important to have the father there in the house for the kids. Obviously, because my wife primarily is the one that schools them, I try to be a little bit more, fun, do the fun stuff. But yeah, as far as disciplining them goes, look, I think it's a joint effort. And I think also, if you're going to be raising kids and you're in the house, it's important that the father and the mother both have their roles, which benefit the family the most, right? So that doesn't always have to be uniform from situation to situation. So, for example, for my first two kids, I didn't change diapers at all. In fact, I didn't even know my son pooped. I thought he didn't poop. I had no idea. But my third kid, just because of life situation, I ended up having to do a lot more with him, like put him down for naps and put him to bed and change his diaper a lot. And, I took on that role because I had to in order to make the family run correctly. And so I mean, these are very deep issues, right? Because everyone has like opinions on things. But I think at the end of the day, it's very important that the man of the house has specific roles, the woman of the house has specific roles, but they're not set in stone, so to speak. There needs to be some fluidity there, and you need to support each other when they need support. Like my wife supports me in so many ways. I could not do what I do without her. I couldn't be right now in this room with a grand piano walking on a treadmill with my beautiful hair if not for my wife. And also, she couldn't be doing the things she's doing now if I wasn't in here walking on the treadmill. So, you have to balance each other out. You have to help each other. You have to support each other. And you have to have a shared goal. And then between the two of you, that's your team, right? You have to figure out who's going to do what to reach that goal.
That's beautiful. That really, really is. And have you noticed a difference between your children's confidence, their behavior, their feeling of safety, etc., because you're constantly there compared to maybe your I don't know, siblings, your nieces and nephews, or other children?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Like, I mean, I think about it, but I have no way to compare. I've never done an experiment. Say, how confident are you, 1 to 10? Hand it out to all the kids. I don't know.
Awesome, that's brilliant. We're going to leave it there because I know you've got somewhere to run, or somewhere to go now. But thank you so much for coming on. This is the second time you've been on the channel. I really do appreciate it, and I hope, I hope you're back on. And thank you for everyone in the chats as well. There is a live stream tomorrow. It's going to be on 2011. We had a all-time high and a bear market low, so we'll be discussing all of that then, but until then, thank you so much. All of Jayson's links will be down below. He does have a Discord, and please do follow him on YouTube as well. Thank you so much.